If you're having issues with your striking, I'm going to help you today. So we are going to address the most common issues people have when it comes to striking, and you can see the list over here somewhere on the screen. If not all of the things apply to you, just skip the video to the time which applies to you. So let's get started. The first thing that people have issues with is movement and balance. So what does that mean? It means that if we are not moving properly, if we are crossing our feet, we are not going to be in balance. To start off with a basic drill, you just stand in your stance and you walk forwards, you walk backwards, you walk to one side, to the other side. And this is going to be, I'm going to deliver a lot of knowledge today, but we're not going to go extremely deep in every topic. So when you walk, you want to walk on your toes, not your toes, but your balls of your feet. Don't walk heel to toe. It's not a walk in a park, it's fighting. And as much as the first leg steps, the other leg steps the same length. Don't be stepping like this or something like this. You want to have a wide stance, not too wide because you can't move. And then you want to move in all directions, always returning to the original width of your legs. If you don't do that, it happened to me with one of my students. I didn't even hook him. I just pushed him during sparring like this, and his feet were like this, and I pushed him, he fell down and injured his elbow. So you must have balance. Balance is not just for like wrestling or jiu-jitsu. No, you have to have balance in striking as well. Otherwise, you're not going to do good. So when it comes to movement, another very important move is a circle step. So it can be used after you hit someone. Come here, please. So let's say I'm hitting him and I circle away. It can also be done if he's attacking me and I don't want to be there anymore and I want a momentary break. Let's say he's hitting me and I'm circling away. You have to master the circle step, otherwise it's not going to be good for you. Next thing we want to be mindful of is relaxation and biomechanics. So what does that mean? So if you don't have proper biomechanics in striking, you're not going to be efficient. Also, if you're not relaxed in a fight or in sparring, you're not going to be efficient. So these are two complementary things, and when it comes to relaxation in a fight, it depends on many factors. One of the factors is your personality. People are different, and some people are more tense when they spar. Other people are more relaxed naturally. Never mind which personality, where you are on a personality spectrum, you can improve your relaxation in time. So what do? You spend a lot of time drilling, you spend a lot of time sparring, and also a factor is, for example, Voin here is, he's an ex-karate guy. He used to train karate before. You had karate fights, right? Yes, so he's going to be more relaxed than a person that just came to me to train without any prior martial arts experience. That's a factor too. When it comes to biomechanics, people get tired a lot when they don't have good biomechanics, when they tense up. What you want to do is you want to practice correct biomechanics, meaning moving your hips and shoulders properly and not utilizing excess force, which is not needed. Actually, a punch and any kind of strike will land harder if you are relaxed, not when you tense up. You only need to tense up at the moment of impact, and that's it. And when it comes to practicing biomechanics, you can do that yourself. You can do it alone on a wall. Well, not on a plaster wall, you're going to break it, but I'll give you an example. So you can practice biomechanics alone, not just on a heavy bag or on a bag. You can practice it on a wall or some kind of a metal bar. Just don't break anything at your home. Maybe if you have pillars, you can do it there. You can just lightly touch and you keep your hands up. The one that's not hitting is up. Same with hooks. 1 hook, 2 hooks, continuous hooks, uppercuts. Keep your shoulders moving, and you can practice it that way. Make sure you breathe out after every punch, during every punch. Next mistake many people make is not being aware of the range. Range is oh so important. So let's stay in your stance. So you don't want to be right in front of him here. This is what I call the zone of heavy traffic. He can hit me, I can hit him. Here there is no fight because we're too far. What you want to do, and you want to imitate this on a heavy bag, on pads, everywhere. And we're going to talk about pads because pads mess distance up. And I'll show you. You want to be 1 step away from your opponent. So put your hands down, please. So when I extend my hands, doesn't matter which one, I'm 1 step away from him. Meaning, if I take a step, I can hit him. And he can hit me too. So we always want to, when we fight, we do drills, I want to be 1 step away from him. So when I want to hit him, I'm not so far away from him that I need like 2-3 steps to reach him. No, I want to be able to hit him by taking 1 step. Of course, if he backs away, then it's different, but you always want to maintain this distance. So how do we do this? There is a great drill I learned many years ago from Bas Rutten. It's called the distancing drill. He's going to stand in his stance, and he wants to maintain this distance and mirror me wherever I go. So if I go forward, he goes backward. If I go sideways, he goes sideways. And he's making sure that he's not crossing his feet, that he has good balance and movement. So if, don't let the, let's call it the rope, don't let the rope get slack. So don't go too far from your partner, not too close. Now, in a fight you want to, stand there please, in a fight you want to be a little bit closer. If you're just doing this drill without punches, keep this distance, okay? Keep this, let's go, keep this distance, shorter distance, because that's the distance you need. But if I'm going to feed him punches and kicks, let's say punches here, he needs to take a little bit, he needs to take a slight step backwards, because as I've said, pads mess up the distance, because you're not, when he hits the pads, this is where my head would be. So my head would be here. Okay, so we go. I'm feeding him the punches. And he's maintaining this distance. This is really important. So if you're doing pads, you need to take an extra step back. Same thing if you're hitting a heavy bag. This is our forest heavy bag. This one doesn't move, but in a gym, the big bag will move. But it's the same thing. You don't want to stand in front of the bag and hit it all the time. It's not realistic. So when you do bag work, you want to move around and always go back after you punch. No matter what the punch is, you want to go back. Okay? You want to maintain distance. Next thing we're going to cover is you being gun shy, meaning you're scared to engage in striking. And many, especially beginners, many beginners have this problem. They ask me, but how can I do it? It's dangerous, I'm scared. It's all right, I understand. So the first thing we want to address is that you have to train with partners that you trust that are not going to hurt you. And we're going to address this issue later a little bit more. But that's the first thing. The second thing is you have to have something that one of my friends calls leap of faith, meaning when we're sparring, if I want to do something, I have to risk something. So if I don't want to risk anything, don't spar, or just back away and nothing will ever happen. But anytime you want to take something, that means opening your hand up. But At the same time, when you open your hand up to take something, something can be taken away from you. Same here. If I want to hit him, it means I'm bridging this distance, and I can also get hit here. It's a risk. That's why we call it leap of faith. You have to believe in yourself. You have to act with full confidence that you will successfully finish your task of hitting him or doing a combo or whatnot. So how do we do this? It just takes time. It takes a lot of sparring with people that you trust, and you just go for it. You go for it and back away. Of course, you're not going to hit the hardest, and yes, we're going to talk about what kind of sparring I prefer to do and what kind of sparring I prefer not to do. But first things first, you just go for it. You have to go for it. You just make peace with yourself that you have to hit someone, not hard though, and you go for it. Don't be shy. One of the reasons that you are gun shy is because you have poor defenses. So you have to work on your defenses. Many people think that it's all offense. No, you have to work on defenses. And the first defense I start working with is called crazy monkey or elbow covers, popularized by South African MMA coach Rodney King. So I'll show you the basics of it. You want to put your elbows in front of your face or to the sides. If he targets the body, you can also use this for defenses. It's something that Rodney King thinks all beginners should learn first, and later you can progress to other kind of defenses. I concur. And I've seen this defense done in high-level competitions. I've seen Quinton Jackson knock people out by first utilizing these defenses and then knocking people out. So yeah, it's quite a good defense to learn first. And we can do the other types of defenses. Jab, please. Our picks. Again, when you pick the punch, there are also slips. Again, you can slip the punch. You can also use the pull counter that Floyd Mayweather used to do and Conor McGregor. Again, and then counter. These are some of the defenses you can do, but I suggest you start with elbow covers and progress further. And to get over being gun shy and scared of engaging, you have to do some sort of drills where opponent hits you. First, I'll show you our favorite drill, also learned from Rodney King. It's called the corner drill. You go into a corner or next to a wall. We don't have a proper wall here, but you understand what I'm saying. So he's going to start punching me lightly, both to the head and to the body. First, you start off that way. Then he increases speed and power. He doesn't want to like hit me hard to the face, but he will add some speed and some intensity to it. Let's go. Body 2. Okay. So, and then we change. He does it for like a minute, then I do it for a minute, and nobody's going to do this in a fight for extended periods of time, but it's a good drill. And next, you want to be able to counter this. And we have a system of going from less complex to more complex, which is, I showed you the beginning of the system, but it's beyond the scope of this video. However, what you want to progress to is this. I want to be able to retaliate. And he's not going to just stand there, he's going to go back and retreat after I start punching. So I'm not just going to be a sitting duck. I'm going to retaliate. And then we change. Then he does it. But try not to go too close, chest to chest, but you want to keep him at your arm's length, okay? So this is how you progress. And if you anytime you want to learn all these things that I'm showing more in depth, go to my website. You have the link here and link down there in the description. You will see the link to MMA Striking Made Easy, my instructional, so if you want to learn more, check it out. Next is sparring culture. So what kind of sparring culture do you have in your club? If you have people that are going all out, that want to knock each other out, I think that's wrong, and I think that's bad. I don't necessarily think that you will not improve, but I do think that less people will become good that way. For example, the Dutch are really notorious for their hard sparring sessions, the Dutch kickboxers. But I think it's bad because many people will get brain damage. A lot less people will become good. Only the strongest specimens will become good. Yes, there are some upsides to this. Upside meaning you will be inoculated against stress because you will be sparring hard a lot of the times. But in my opinion, hard fighting should be reserved for a fight, for an actual fight, for a match, not for trainings. When it comes to sparring, you want to go, that's at least my opinion, like 10 to 20% of striking power to the head, although I go many times with my students, I go much less, and harder to the legs and to the body. But try not to like break your partner's ribs with a knee or with something, a body shot. Yeah, harder to the body. You have to get used to being uncomfortable. Yeah, you don't want to take punches and kicks just to take them, but you want to get used to, you want to defend them, but you want to get used to this feeling when you get hit that it's nothing special. Like you are going to get used to it. And legs too, but not the head. Head, don't mess with the head. It's not going to get better. Next thing is that people do not utilize oblique kicks, stab kicks, and side kicks to the knees. So I'll show you. So they do not utilize obliques, side kicks to the knees, and stabs. These are really important kicks to utilize because they will confuse your opponent. If you saw Conor McGregor fight before, he utilized a lot of those stab kicks. He also utilized spinning kicks as well, and he never knocked anybody out with these, but they helped him set up his main weapon, which is the left hand. And if you're not using those kicks, you're leaving a lot on the table. What you want to do is you want to move around. You want to practice those, making him think. He's now thinking about legs. He's now thinking about legs. Maybe he's not thinking so much now about his head because I keep kicking his legs, and maybe I can do something like this, where I deliberately miss the kick, the side kick to the knee, and deliver across. Many other examples as well. I can start stabbing, and then I can maybe go for the high kick. So many ways to set these up, and these can actually finish a guy. If you stab him properly to the liver or spleen, he's done. Yes, there is a factor of risk because you are going to, if you hit his elbow or his hip, you might get injured, you might injure your foot, but otherwise it's still a good kick to do. John Jones, in his fight against Daniel Cormier, he kept stabbing his ribs. And Cormier started dropping his hands, and then he did a question mark kick, which sucks on when I use my left leg, but you know what I mean. So he was able to set up the high kick with stabs. Very efficient, and you should be doing it. Many people also have a problem with not being able to make the combos work. They tell me, how can I make the combos work? Anytime we start sparring, I forget everything that I've drilled and I cannot use anything. First of all, it has to do a lot with who you're sparring. If you're sparring more advanced guys than you, probably nothing's gonna work. But if you're sparring people that are of lower skill level than you, or somewhere around your skill level, then that's a different story, and you should be sparring everybody, because with higher level people you tend to you tend to fight for your life basically, and you concentrate more on defense. With same level people, approximately, it's a competitive fight. And with lower skilled opponents, you try out things that you've practiced and that are not yet a part of your arsenal. That doesn't mean that you should destroy lower skilled opponents, not at all. Just lightly spar with them and try things out, try new things out. So when it comes to combos, many people want to do combos all at once. Do not approach it this way. There is a simpler way to do it, please. What you want to do is start concentrating on single punches and kicks or 2 strike combos. Not like 5 strike combos, 3 strike combos. No. One punch, 1 kick, or 2 strikes. I'll show you. So let's say we're sparring now, and I just want to concentrate on 1 punch. Delivering a 1 punch, delivering 1 low kick, maybe 1 middle kick, just to get used to delivering strikes in a sparring setting. Then I can maybe double it up, double jab, jab cross, jab cross to the body, jab cross to the body. Okay. Then I can do, for kickboxing purposes, this is one of the best combos. It's so easy, but it's one of the best. It's a jab, low kick, jab, low kick. And I don't even have to hit him with a jab. I call it smudging the eyes. I confuse him. I confuse him here, making him think about the strike, and I deliver a low kick. Start off like that, simple. And then middle kick or jab, high kick, cross, hook, and always maintain distance. Did you notice how I went in and out? So start off like that. After you get comfortable doing this, you can add more complex combos. I like the dachi, I think they call it the dachi, which is cross, hook, low kick. Any type of combo that works like this, like rear hand, lead hand, doesn't have to be a hook like I showed now there, and it can also be a middle kick. So rear, lead, rear. And we have many types of combos since we're in the subject, and I've taught this. We have opposite hand, opposite foot combos. I'll show you where you use the opposite hand and opposite foot to deliver a combo. It can be 1, 2, 3, and this. It's opposite hand, opposite foot. We also have same hand, same foot combos. I really like these especially for delivering high kicks. So maybe I go 1, 2, and then a high kick. And I've covered this in this video over here, actually in several videos, so you can check it out there. So same hand, same foot combos, they make the high kick land. I've landed more high kicks when I started using same hand, same foot combos. The next issue is not reading your opponent's reactions and not changing targets. What does that mean? First of all, when you're sparring, you don't want to just like go in and just hit. Okay, in the beginning when you're starting out, cool, you might want to do that. But whenever I spar with anybody, I'm reading what they're doing. I'm reading their reactions. So if I do a jab, I'm watching how he reacts. Let's say he reacts like that, and keep the reaction. Now I have data. I see that he's opening up this part of his body. So how can I use it to my advantage? I can maybe do a feint there and then go for the cross to the body. I can maybe utilize a middle kick. I'm getting some data. I'm downloading data from him, and I'm changing levels of attacks. So let's say, I'll give you another example. If he's protecting his against my low kick by lifting his leg up, I see that he's lifting it up. which is an opportunity for me to sweep him, which I'm not gonna do because it's concrete, but I'll show you the move. So now I know how he defends the low kick. And now I go for this, which would be probably end up with him on his back. So you have to think what he's giving you. Don't just mindlessly strike with him. This is what high-level strikers do. They always download information. So this can be done even with one hand. Sometimes I give some of my students to spar handicapped. For example, Vojin sparred Veljko. Veljko is higher level than Vojin. He's been training a lot longer. So I told Veljko, just use one hand. So when they sparred, Veljko could use one hand only, lead hand. So, and some people can think, oh, what can he use? Plenty. So he can do jabs. He can, if he's defending the center line, he can change the target. You don't have to use your whole body. He can also feint with the cross and then go for the body. He can, when he jabs, he can go for the uppercut. There are many, many things you can do. Many things, even with one hand. Then if we have two hands, boxing situation, you can go for the center line. Then you can go around. You can go around on the other side. If you see that he's giving you this kind of a reaction, you can go low to the body. You can go to the sides of the body. Let's say he's lifting this arm up to defend. I can go to the side. Many things you can do. Legs, with legs I've just shown you, like low kicks, middle kicks. You can do many things. Many, many things. And in MMA, even more. In MMA, I can utilize my strikes to set up my takedowns. And in MMA, you have a plethora of options. So make sure that you read your opponent's reactions and change targets. The next issue is you not utilizing rhythm changes. So what does that mean? So people tend to stick to the same rhythm, especially when they do pads. Like what they do is they do this, like I'm holding pads for Vojin now, and I'm doing this. Every 2.5 seconds, I feed him something. And now he's stuck in this rhythm. Also, people tend to do this when they spar, like they do this. Same speed, same number of seconds between strikes. You don't want to do that. It makes you predictable. So not only will you change targets to make you unpredictable, you change the rhythm and speed. So how do we do this? First thing is that I vary the time elapsed between my strikes. So if I'm sparring him and he's not gonna fight back right now, come here, please. Here. If I'm sparring him, I might do a jab and then relax a little bit, then jab, jab, cross, and then again. See, I've just shortened the time between my attacks. I can do that. I can also fake my intentions with body language. Let's say, and dart in, like completely relax and then dart in. I can do that as well. I've been on the receiving end of fake body language from my students, and of course I've utilized it as well. So it's a good thing to do. But anyways, you should vary the rhythm. Nick Diaz does this, and I think Nate as well. They don't punch with full intent, like not every punch is the hardest punch they use. So sometimes they just pepper and lull their opponent into safety. And then they rip the body or they start punching harder, but they use different kinds of rhythm to their advantage. Another problem people have is not sticking to the plan. When they start sparring, everything flies out the window. They don't have a plan, and they should. Like, it's not a life and death situation, unless you're in Holland, perhaps. I don't know. I've never been there, but I've heard stories. What you want to do is when you spar, you want to have a plan. Come here, please. So I'm sparring him. He's a right-hander like me, I can do a lefty as well. So you have a plan. Okay, what's my plan? I'm gonna start pumping out the jab, doubling up the jab, and seeing his reactions. Okay, he's opening up. Here's a middle kick. I'm watching his reactions. Maybe I'll do a flying knee in. Maybe I'll start testing him with combos. Maybe I'll add the high kick then. Okay? So I have to have a plan, but my plan, personally, I start with the righty, I start pumping out the jab multiple times to see what he reacts, and start hitting him with low kicks. And then, let's see, I'm pumping out the jab, and I hit him with low kicks, and I see his reactions. Is he reacting to my low kick? Okay, maybe he's lifting the leg up. Okay, I can maybe go for the sweep. I've already discussed this. If he lifts the leg up, I'll start feinting. Then I'll change the side. Many things you can do. I'm just giving you an overview of what you can do. Not a complete guide. It's up to you to do this, but you have to have a plan. That's my plan against the righty. Against the righty, if I'm in a left-handed stance, I'm going to utilize my rear hand. I'm waiting for his jab to parry it so I can do this, or waiting for his jab so I can do the middle kick. But I'm not just gonna wait. I'm gonna use the jab as well, but mostly as a setup for my right hand. And I'm targeting his body here as well with occasional high kick. That's my general plan for an opposite stance fighter. And of course come here. And of course angling, getting a superior angle so I can use my kicks and punches. That's my general plan. You have to have one. You have to stick to it. Don't just throw it out of the water as soon as the strikes start landing because it's stressful. No, you have to stick to a plan and keep cool. Keep like a t-shirt. Keep cool and stick to the plan. Next issue is that you're not utilizing shadow box properly. So I've seen this all around the world. Like people, when they shadow box, they put their hands down, they just throw hands out there thinking they're looking cool and mean or whatnot. That's not how you do it. Shadow boxing can be done in many ways, and if you're interested in shadow boxing for MMA purposes, I have a video for you in the cards. Check it out. There are some ideas you can use for MMA shadow boxing, but right now I'm just talking about striking. So when it comes to striking, first things first, shadow boxing is a visualization practice in motion. So I want to visualize what's going on. What kind of opponent is in front of me? Is he a lefty, righty? Is he taller, not so tall? What kind of attacks is he doing? So I'm not just gonna throw hands out there. I'm visualizing my opponent. Okay, he's same height as me. I'm pumping out the jab. He's coming towards me. I'm defending, I'm circling out, which means I'm practicing all the elements that I need to be practicing to be successful in a fight. I'm also doing kicks and defending afterwards. Circling out if he attacks me. Correct technique always. Make sure you're breathing. If you're not hearing yourself breathe, you're not breathing probably. I call this snorkeling. You're gonna lose so much gas that way. You have to or ventilate. Okay, so in shadow boxing, practice all these elements, but you have to keep everything correct. You can go very fast in shadow boxing, and that way you're going to lose more energy, of course, or you can just do it in a relaxed manner. If you just started to train after a while, you don't want to get too tired, or you just want to practice proper technique, then you just move around lightly, but make everything correct. Doesn't matter if you're doing hard shadow boxing or a lighter version of it. Keep everything correct and visualize what's he doing. You're not the only one that's hitting. You're also going to be defending. Another mistake many people make is poor bag work, heavy bag work, which means people ask me, oh, should I hit the bag hard? Should I hit it light and practice technique only? Both. Unlike your opponent, you can hit your bag very hard, and that's what it's for. I used to not have hair over here when I practiced for MMA competitions, because I hit the heavy bag very much and very hard. So I lost all my hair, not all, but some of my hair there. And because of this, I was able to kick without any concern for my own safety. Or I was lucky, I don't know, I didn't break my shins and I delivered pretty hard low kicks. So on a heavy bag, you can practice hard kicks, hard strikes, but I wouldn't only do that. I would also practice slight technique. Imagine this is a heavy bag, and of course I would not be hitting it with my shin pads, but I'm using it to shoot this video. So if you're practicing hard kicks, make sure you get away from the bag when you hit and step out. Step in, hit, step out. So yes, you can practice hard kicks, or hard punches, but that's not the only thing you do. You can also move around lightly and practice the correctness of technique. If you're just starting out and you don't have, if you're not satisfied with the level of your technique, don't hit the bag hard. You're just gonna corrupt your technique. You need to do it slow, and you need to do it deliberate. So this is enough. It doesn't look combative, but trust me, if you're just learning technique, this is gonna be plenty of power, okay? Not harder than that if you're learning technique. If you're more advanced, then yeah, sure, go ahead and kick harder. Another issue people have is not being a student of the game. What does that mean? Up to you finish your training, you think it's over. That's it. You don't have to think about fighting anymore. Well, that's okay if you're a recreational guy and you're satisfied with only thinking about fighting 3 times a week, or however many times you attend the session. But if you want to improve more, it's not enough to just think about training when you're training. Go home and watch fights, and try not to watch them as a fan only. Watch them as a student of the game. So, you just saw that fight, somebody got knocked out. What led to him being knocked out? Did something happen? Did his opponent set up the knockout in some way? Was it a fluke? Was it not a fluke? Try to think about fights in this way. And the more you learn striking, the better you will be able to recognize situations in fights. Also, while I'm not all for watching instructionals endlessly on YouTube, they can be very helpful if you feel that you have a deficiency somewhere in your game. For example, I've learned the T-Rex choke by watching Robert Drysdale on YouTube, or from some instructional, I'm not sure which one it was, but I learned that choke and I was able to utilize it pretty well. Doesn't matter if it's striking, grappling, doesn't matter. Watch videos and look for ideas, and look for somebody that you would like to emulate and do that. Try to emulate his style. And one of the main issues people have is they don't have enough reps in of the technique. And they think something's wrong with them, but you just need time. People improve at different rates. Not everybody is talented, like, I don't know who, John Jones or somebody else, but everybody can improve if you stick to it. So people expect to be like experts in a few months. It's not gonna happen. You have to have the reps in. Your nervous system has to adapt to being thrown hands at and feet and everything. It takes time. If this was easy, everybody would be doing it. So you probably don't have enough reps in both of the specific techniques and sparring and being in the combative environment in general. So you need to spend more time drilling and more time sparring, which reminds me of the famous Bruce Lee quote. He says, "I'm not afraid of the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks. I'm afraid of the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." This is completely true, and in judo, I come from judo, and in judo, usually top-level athletes have several, we call it special techniques, meaning techniques they can almost always land on people. And you know they're doing this particular technique. You know what's coming, and they will still be able to do it on you. So, because they practiced it against the lefty, against the righty, against the tall, short opponent, against a strong, weak. They practice it everywhere, and it's very, very useful. So you should be developing your techniques as well. I'm not saying you should develop only like 3 punches or something. Some punches will be better than others for you, but you need to have the reps in. And a bonus issue or bonus question I've had from one of my students is, how do I develop counters? So counters is an advanced capability, advanced skill, and you shouldn't be concentrating on counters immediately. You should be like doing regular stuff that I've showed you here, and afterwards you can start developing counters, either from slipping and countering, or from pulling back and countering. And if you're interested in a pull counter, check this video out. I've analyzed Conor McGregor, who has probably the best pull counter in MMA. Check him out, and you will be able to see all the drills that can help you develop a pull counter. So that's it for today. I hope you like this. It's a lot of things that we covered today, and I couldn't go in really in depth because the video would be way too long. But if you're interested in learning more from me, check out MMA Striking Made Easy Instructional, and you can also get coached by me online if that's what you want. Shoot me an email. You have all the info in the description, and I will see you again in the next video. And also tell me, what would you like to learn more when it comes to striking or MMA in general? What do you have issues with? Leave it down in the comments below. My name is Mark Leichtner. I'll see you again soon.